Let's talk about composite aircraft. Behind me I have a picture of a cozy. It's a Burt Rutan design. It's got canards, as you can see there. Canards are these wings in the front of the aircraft, and then the main wings and engines are at the back. So Burt Rutan was a master of this designing aircraft. He had a tremendous imagination. He designed a lot of really cool aircraft, including here are some of the aircraft he designed. So we have the catbird here, the long easy, the very easy, and this one was called the very vegan. Very unique designs. And they're all composite aircraft, and the way you make composite aircraft is you use, this is a project at the EAA Home Builders workshop that somebody donated because they started the project and for some reason they couldn't finish it. So I just wanted to go through with you and show you what a composite aircraft is constructed of. So here is the canard. So this is actually, this is fiberglass and a solid comb 4. So this is closed cell foam. This is blue foam here, so it's a closed cell. Like, I want to say it's polyethylene or polystyrene, but it's a closed cell foam. And the way you make it is you have the foam, and then you wrap the fiberglass over it, and you put the matrix on top, like epoxy, and it sets and gets hard. So the theory, the idea behind it is pretty simple. You cut the foam into shape, which is pretty much what this is here. So here's your airfoil shape that they have. So it's just foam, and then cut out of they probably can use a hot wire. So there's a machine, you would draw the shape here, and then you use a hot wire set up at the end. Is 2 ends and a wire in between, and the wire heats up, and then you use a hot wire to cut through the foam, and then you have your complex shapes. Then you put the fiberglass over it with the epoxy and so on. You can kind of see how it's done here. Actually, here's the top with some epoxy, and then you go from there. It's very stiff, very lightweight construction. And here you have the torque tubes attached there, and here's the fuselage. So this will be the fuselage for the 3-person cozy aircraft. So here's the front, here's the nose, and it's foam covered by this again fiberglass. So this is thick in some places, and here we go. And here's the formers that you can use if you want to make multiple copies of the same shape. You can use the former and do that. Here again is a fiberglass. So it's fiberglass. So it looks like kind of a canoe, but it's very stout, very light. Actually, it's pretty thick right here. So this would be, you have side-by-side seating and another person in the back. And here is just these are some of the cowling, and then this would be this is another piece of the cowling for the aircraft. So these 2 pieces are the engine cowling. That's the top of the engine cowl, so that would go right here. That's this piece, and then the other one is the piece that goes on the bottom. Now this aircraft is slightly different in shape to this one. The aircraft this is a tandem seat, so this is only a 2-person, 1 person in the front, 1 person in the back. The other one right here is actually a 3-person, so it's a little bit longer. So this piece right here is a little different as well. So this piece would go between here and here, and then it's a much longer aircraft, so you'd have the passengers and the pilot sitting up here. Now this piece is a slightly different construction. It's still fiberglass, but if you look closely, you'll see a honeycomb material. So there's a honeycomb material that helps give it its shape, and then the fiberglass on the other side. So it basically is a sandwich. So in composite, often you'll see a lot of the structure actually be made of a sandwich of material. So you have the smooth, what would give it the smooth surface, the fiberglass, or sometimes it'd be graphite or carbon fiber, and then you'll have something in the middle that helps it give its thickness, its shape, gives it its rigidity, because we know fiberglass itself isn't very rigid, but you have use the fiberglass to sandwich a material, a honeycomb material in this case, and in this case it'd be a foam to sandwich it, and gives you that rigidity, the strength, the durability. Fiberglass, that's very durable material, and then you can construct very complex shapes very easily in your in your garage, in your workshop. Oh, here's a picture of them in the workshop doing a layup. So you have to wear gloves obviously, and you're using the fiberglass and you're laying it up there, and then you can end up with some very complex shapes that are pretty easy to manufacture. Here's a young lady, and she's using, here's the fiberglass shape, and it was made using this form. So they would lay the fiberglass, which is like a sheet, of cloth. You'd lay it over here, and then you would use the brush and brush the epoxy into it, and then let it dry. If you're more sophisticated, you can vacuum seal it. It sucks out all the air and gives it a really nice tight shape with no air bubbles and less deformities and irregularities within the material. And then it'll come apart. You put your parting material there, and then it just peels off, and then you just cut the excess, and then you're left in this case with this looks like a nose cowl or some other complex part, maybe a part inside the cockpit of one of these aircraft. Oh, and here's a picture of Burt Rutan, and I think that's his brother Dick Rutan, many years ago. So Dick Rutan, he's actually the first person to fly around the world in the Voyager, I believe, aircraft, which was a Burt Rutan design as well. So very interesting. Again, you have to have a lot of imagination and determination to come up with a lot of interesting designs. You can solve problems by being creative and imaginative.